Hi, this is Enki35, and I thought that I would make this video because last night I received this message from this guy who believes that the God of the Bible is the Bullgod, which there is a Bullgod in the Bible, but the Hebrew God of the Bible is not Enlil, and he's not the Bullgod. So I'm going to go ahead, and I have to do this because I can't stand lies. I'm going to read from 1 Kings 11, 1 through 8 really quick, and then I'm going to jump over, okay? So right here, it says, King Solomon, which does not mean the sun and the moon, because in Hebrew, his name is Shalomo, okay? It means peace, so he was the king of peace. However, loved many foreign women besides Pharaoh's daughter, the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Sidonians, and Hittites. And they were from nations about which the Lord had told the Israelites, you must not intermarry with them, because they will surely turn your hearts after their gods. Nevertheless, Solomon held fast to them in love. And he had 700 wives of royal birth and 300 concubines, and his wives led him astray. Yeah, no wonder why he's so wise. He had all them women, huh? But as Solomon grew old, his wives turned his hearts after other gods, and his heart was not fully devoted to the Lord as the heart of David, his father, had been. And it states, he followed Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Sidonians, and Moloch, the detestable god of the Ammonites. So Solomon did evil in the eyes of the Lord, and he did not follow the Lord completely as David, his father, had done. On a hill east of Jerusalem, Solomon built a high place for Chemosh, the detestable god of Moab, and for Moloch, the detestable god for the Ammonites. And he did the same for all his foreign wives who burned incense and offered sacrifices to their gods. So the Lord had become angry with them, okay? And it goes on. But anyway, I want to point out these gods, okay? First of all, the Moabites and the Ammonites. Those are the descendants of Lot's children. And the god Chemosh can be equated with the god Shamash, which is the sun. And this is actually in the anthropomorphic sense. So Chemosh is actually the son of Enlil, which is the bull god. And but Enlil is not the Hebrew god. Okay. Even though, because of the ancient Sumerian text, where it states that he sent the flood and Anki saved mankind through Ziasudra or Atrahasis, Utnapishtim, and Noah. But anyway, these gods are, and Ashtoreth is Inanna, which is the brother, or her brother is Shamash. And so these are those gods right there, the children of Enlil, okay, so far, except for Moloch. Now, Moloch is an idol, and Moloch was where they would place the children in the arms of this machine, this mechanical idol, and beat their drums, and they would have the child to go into the belly of Moloch to sacrifice their children. And this was a detestable thing to the Hebrew God. So now I'm turning over here because he is not the bull god. So I'm going to read right here And when I'm looking down to the left, just so people know, because this guy's saying, because I look to the left, my desk is to the left of me. To the right of me is my dressers and stuff. So anyway, I'm going to turn to 2 Kings 17, 7 through 18. And in the last video, I was talking about how the Lord had turned them over to raiders. Well, the raiders were the Assyrians, okay? And because they were disobedient, and then they got taken over by the Babylonians too. But they were so wicked and corrupt in worshiping the Bullgod that God, the God of the Hebrews, would allow them to be captured because they were disgusting to him. And they were disgusting. So right here, Kings 17, 7 through 18 states, this is the exile. This is why Israel was exiled. So it says, all this took place because the Israelites had sinned against the Lord their God, who had brought them up out of Egypt from under the power of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and they worshipped other gods and followed the practices of the nations the Lord had driven out before them, as well as the practices that the kings of Israel had introduced. The Israelites secretly did things against the Lord their God that were not right. From watchtower to fortified city, they built themselves high places in all their towns, and they set up sacred stones and Asherah poles on every high hill and under every spreading tree. At every high place they burned incense, as the nations whom the Lord had driven out before them had done. And they did wicked things that provoked the Lord to anger. They worshipped idols, though the Lord had said, you shall not do this. The Lord warned Israel and Judah through all his prophets and seers, turn from your evil ways. Observe my commands and decrees in accordance with the entire law that I commanded your fathers to obey and that I delivered to you through my servants, the prophets. But they would not listen and were stiff-necked as their fathers who did not trust in the Lord their God. They rejected his decrees and the covenant he had made with their fathers and the warnings he had given them. They followed worthless idols and themselves became worthless. They imitated the nations around them, although the Lord had ordered them, do not do as they do. And they did the things the Lord had forbidden them to do. So it says, they forsook all the commands of the Lord their God and made for themselves two idols cast in the shape of calves and an Asherah pole. They bowed down to all the starry hosts, and they worshipped Baal. They sacrificed their sons and daughters in the fire. They practiced divination and sorcery and sold themselves to do evil in the eyes of the Lord, provoking him to anger. So the Lord was very angry with Israel and removed them from his presence, and only the tribe of Judah was left. And even Judah did not keep the commands of the Lord their God, and they followed the practices Israel had introduced, and therefore the Lord rejected all the people of Israel. He afflicted them and gave them into the hands of plunderers until he thrust them from his presence. And that is them going into captivity with Assyria, with the king Shalmaneser V. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mention that they cast idols of calves. Now, if the God of the Hebrews was the bull god, then why is he pissed off? Okay. And even in Egypt, the story states that when Moses had come down and they had fashioned an idol, well, why did Moses grind up the idol and have them to drink it if he was the bull god, right? So why would he be mad? Makes sense, doesn't it? So anyway, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to turn over here to 2 Kings 23, 4 through 15. And this is what it says. It says this is King Hosea. And, he renews the covenant with the Lord because they obviously, disobeyed the covenant of the Lord. And so he renews the covenant, and it says, the king, Hosea, ordered Hilkiah, the high priest, the priest next in rank, and the doorkeepers to remove from the temple of the Lord all the articles made for Baal and Asherah and the starry host. He burned them outside Jerusalem in the fields of the Kidron Valley and took the ashes to Bethel. He did away with the pagan priest appointed by the kings of Judah to burn incense on the high places of the towns of Judah and on those around Jerusalem, those who burned incense to Baal, to the sun and moon, to the constellations, and to all the starry hosts. He took the Asherah pole from the temple of the Lord to the Kidron Valley outside Jerusalem and burned it there. And he ground it into powder and scattered the dust over the graves of the common people. And he also tore down the quarter of the male shrine prostitutes which were in the temple of the Lord and where women did weaving for Asherah. Hosea thought all of the priests from the towns of Judah and desecrated the high places from Geba to Beersheba, where the priest had burned incense, and he broke down the shrines at the gates, at the entrance to the gate of Joshua, the city governor, which is on the left of the city gate. And although the priests of the high places did not serve at the altar of the Lord in Jerusalem, they ate unleavened bread with their fellow priests. He desecrated Topheth, which was in the valley of Ben Hinnom, so no one could use it to sacrifice his son or daughter in the fire to Moloch. Well, there again is saying that the Hebrew God is not Baal and he is not Moloch. He hates these detestable practices, and this is what it says. So for people to actually believe that this God right here in the Bible, and it has nothing to do with religion, it has to do with what it says straight out. He is not the Bullgod. He is not Baal. He is not Moloch. He is not Chemosh. It says, he removed from the entrance to the temple of the Lord the horses that the kings of Judah had dedicated to the sun. Shamash. And they were in the court near the room of an official named Nathan Melech. And Hosea then burned the chariots dedicated to the sun. He pulled down the altars the kings of Judah had erected on the roof near the upper room of Ahaz, and the altars Manasseh had built in the two courts of the temple of the Lord. And he removed them from there and smashed them to pieces and threw the rubble in the Kidron Valley. And the king also desecrated the high places that were east of Jerusalem on the south of the hill of corruption, the ones Solomon, king of Israel, had built for Ashtoreth, the vile goddess of the Sidonians, Inanna, for Chemosh, the vile god of Moab, Shamash, or Utu, and for Moloch, the detestable god of the people of Ammon, and that was the idol. Hosea smashed the sacred stones and cut down the Asherah poles and covered the sites with human bones. And even the altar at Bethel, the high places made by Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who had caused Israel to sin, even that altar and high place he demolished, and he burned the high place to the ground to powder, and he burned the Asherah pole also. Then Hosea looked around, and when he saw the tombs that were on the hillside, he had the bones removed from them and burned on the altar to defile it in accordance with the word of the Lord proclaimed by the man of God who foretold these things. So he smashed all these idols. He smashed all these things set up to these gods. And so I just thought I would say that when someone's coming to me, and people can talk to me about the Bullgod, and I don't have a problem talking, because I know how to explain these gods, because I know who these gods are. So, but when you're trying to talk to me about like what I'm talking about on my video, I mean, at least relate the things to the subject, because on my other video, the one I have on the Hebrew God, did not like child sacrifices. Excuse me. There was no substance, because it was just deny, deny, deny. And even though I pointed out that he is not Moloch, these people believe that God of the Bible is, the Hebrew God of the Bible is Moloch and Baal. And it's like they take people's words and believe that this is true without actually searching for it themselves. And it's really sad to see someone brainwashed to where they're even saying by bull, Bull. That is too funny. Anyway, no, God is not Moloch. The Hebrew God is not Moloch. The Hebrew God is not Baal. The Hebrew God is not El. The Hebrew God is not Enlil. Okay. And I'm going to have to make another video about these gods and who they are, because they're a family. And that's why we have the 70 sons of El. Anyway, I'll talk about this later. And just wanted to clear that up. And maybe that guy that came to talk to me last night will end up seeing this, and he'll actually look at all these verses and see that they're idols of the calves and all this other stuff. He's not a bull god. So that's the truth. Anyway, have a good day.